Rostov-on-the-Don, probably the last pictures out of the town prior to its fall before the German onslaught. Only very few of its buildings are now standing. The Russians took measures to ensure that what they sacrificed at Rostov was not gained by the Germans, but it's a serious loss to our brave allies. Now, these pictures are late in arriving, but when you consider the enormous difficulties in transport over 1,000 miles front, as well as the sea problem, you will perhaps marvel that we get films from Russia at all. Anyway, the snows of late winter were still on the ground when big tanks, covered by artillery fire, carried white-clad Russian soldiers to the relief of an inhabited point. In face of stubborn opposition, the Soviet troops broke into the outskirts of the village and surprised the Germans in occupation. In the words of the communique, another village was liberated. The enemy left behind many dead, and we took many prisoners. But what an awful state of affairs they found in the village. All that remained of women, old men and children, thrown together into a common pit, each body an indictment against the German aggressors. From Moscow come these scenes of an exhibition portraying what the Germans have done to the little children of the Soviet. The kiddies were as happy as any before the war, but the bestial Boche slaughtered or starved them in their ruthless march into Russian territory. Such crimes can never be forgiven or forgotten. In the extreme northern sector, reindeer are used in the grim business of war. Here the troops were ordered to proceed by sleigh to a certain bridge and destroy it. How well they performed their allotted task is seen here. Now we travel to the shores of the Baltic for the ceremony of the taking of the oath by an aviation regiment. The flyers declare that so long as our hands can steer a plane, so long as our hearts beat and the blood flows in our veins, we shall combat and destroy the fascist beasts without fear or mercy. How the valiant men of the Russian Air Force are carrying out their oath is amply demonstrated by these scenes of an attack on a German aerodrome. The Red Raiders are led by Estomilev, a hero of the Soviet Union. A dive and a shower of bombs hurtles down to bring havoc to the Junkers planes lined up below. That was a shower of bombs, but they're just a curtain raiser. Watch! Nice work, fella. Perhaps they'll understand that language. Nor are our Russian allies overlooking the importance of leaflet raids. In this case, each leaflet confers the right to live on any German soldier presenting it to Russian troops. The leaflet plane is well camouflaged and is not a very good target for enemy fighters. And there they go, carrying their promise of humane treatment to any Germans who may be interested. And not a few are interested, for they come out of their holes with both hands raised in submission, instead of the one-arm raised salute they've been taught by their Nazi master. Eagerly they hand over their passport to life. Better to be living as Russian prisoners than dead as victims of Russian vengeance. Some of the leaflets bear caricatures of infamous Nazis, but the Germans don't care. They smile. Why not? They're out of the fight. That's what matters most to them. And lastly, in our review of the terrific task of our Russian allies as winter drew to its close, are these pictures of a parachute expedition to relieve a beleaguered village. They know it's a dangerous job, but every man is prepared to give his life to carry out his orders. This regiment has great faith in its dog mascot and take him with them. All aboard! The signal is given and away go the planes on their hazardous mission. Soon they cross the enemy lines and are over their objective. Out tumble the airborne Soviet soldiers who float to earth in a calm, which is a fitting prelude to the storm which must come when they land. Outside the village, the enemy is overcome, much to the delight of the liberated inhabitants. Our gallant allies are now enduring terrific assaults, but the Soviet spirit is unbroken. Russia and her allies will not rest until victory is achieved.